All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. Let me do a little bit of adjustment here. Oh, mercy of the camera. All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. It's Pastor Dowell. Seems like I have everybody hating on me today. And of course, the only way you can really truly be hated is if you stand for something. Because most people, rather than standing for something, they usually fall for everything. But I'm getting some nasty emails and some nasty responses from you people that are in the religion of Christianity. And the problem is church dogma. In other words, you know, many of you, without knowing it, you esteem the opinions of Tertullian, Marcion, Ignatius, John Calvin, Wesley. I can go on and on and on. These are people who you call your church fathers. Now, see, this is the problem right here. The problem is order and perspective. I'm an Israelite. I'm not a Christian. And make no mistake about it. When you hear me speak against Christianity, I'm not speaking against you people that are involved in this religion that is blindly following heathenism and paganism. I'm speaking against the actual organization, the structure, the religion itself, because the religion itself came 300 years after the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. That's a fact. Go check it out. But, you know, a lot of these Christians are taking me on the chin because they hate and spurn my comments. And they said it seems like that I am in favor of Islam. Now, Islam, according to my understanding, the Prophet Muhammad, he came 600 years after the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. But the reason why that I don't support either one of these religions is because Abraham, the father of faith, Isaac and Jacob, you know, the patriarchs, they were not Christians, nor were they Muslims. But if you're asking me my personal opinion, which I will give you facts, why do I support, or it seems like that I'm more favorable towards Islam over Christianity, is simply because of their lifestyle and their dedication. It's a fact. It's just the truth. These Christians, the first thing they do is they try to character assassinate Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad. And you have to understand, I do not know anything about the Prophet Muhammad, but one thing I do know is this. Well, let me rephrase that. There are a few things that I know, because I have a Quran in the house right there. I actually read it as well. I mean, if I'm reading your church fathers to find out more about what you believe, I read the scriptures, I read the Quran as well to see what it has to say. And what's disturbing is that the first thing that people do in this society and time is try to make that Bible fit their own mind and their own conscience. You know, people are going about trying to establish a law of their own. And of course, the first thing they do is they say that Muhammad was a pervert. That's what they say. And you need to be careful about some of the judgments that you make, because they talk about him marrying young maidens, young girls, or something like that. But have you people forgotten, you hypocrites? You Christians are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world. First of all, number one, Christ is not your Messiah in the religion of Christianity. He can be your Messiah individually if you choose to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. But just because you drop Jesus off the edge of your tongue does not mean that he is your Savior. Because if you don't do what he commands, then he is not your Messiah or Savior. But have you forgotten, if you're going to follow the Hebrew Bible, that the Eastern cultures think totally different than this perverted Western culture we live in. I think the problem is that people are starting to get afraid and scared because I speak so clear against the religion, the false religion of Christianity, that they are afraid. They're literally scared because the truth that I'm bringing is irrefutable. I mean, Galatians 4:16 said, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? And I think that people are starting to having to face reality, and it's better for them to stick their head in the sand and bury it and keep it buried rather than actually talk about these things that will cause national dissent. Because, I mean, after all, here in America, everything's been built on a fairy tale. But for those people out there, and I got a lot of digressions going on in here right now, but for those people out there who love to actually judge Islam, especially this wicked Christian West over here, and talk about child brides. Now, don't get me wrong. I myself personally, I can't, having a wife or thinking about having a wife, if I'm, let's say at the time I was 40 years old, and I cannot see 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 25, years old, because my children are older than that. But yet and still, that is just personal opinion. That has nothing to do with truth. I think, you Christians, you want to follow the Hebrew scriptures, but then you want to have it your way according to church dogma. Hey, you people forgot that when Joseph married Mary, that she was an adolescent, she was 12, 13 years old. And then the first thing y'all want to do is attack Muhammad. You people are some of the greatest hypocrites that there has ever been on the face of the planet. Or the problem is you go about establishing your own righteousness and you expect everybody to submit and acquiesce to your dogma. And it's just simply not going to happen. Not to those of us that are informed. And you can argue and fight all you want, but Islam is more in tune with Moses and the prophets than Christianity would ever be. But what hypocrites that people are today when they have their own book of the law that they're trying to enforce upon everybody else simply because it's the way that they've been reared. The people in Eastern cultures think totally different than the people over in the West. When a woman has reached puberty, there is no sin, whether you like it or not. There is no sin. There may be laws on the land. Even here in the United States of America, there are states where United States of America, Greco-Roman, American, British Empire, America. There are states in this country where you can marry girls at 14, 15, 16, 17. You people, y'all, of course, I know what the problem is. The problem is that everybody has a mouth and it moves and things come out of the mouth and they just assume what they believe is right. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be the first to tell you, I thank God that I've become a student of the word because I do not believe like the majority of you people over here in Christian West believe. Matter of fact, I found out everything that I've ever believed I had to unlearn concerning the religion of Christianity because it's all a farce and it's all a lie. Every bit of it is. That's why I'm an Israelite. Now, most people, because first time you probably ever listened to me, you don't know anything about me. And you think that I'm speaking against because that's the way your mind been programmed. You think that I'm actually speaking against Jesus Christ, and I'm not. As a matter of fact, Jesus Christ is my Savior, and I know that many of you people, boy, you find it hard on that one again. Yeah, he is the prophet that Moses prophesied to come, that he would save his people from their sins. And I think the problem is in this country is, the religion of Christianity has hijacked the Hebrew scriptures, repackaged it and rehashed it and put it out the way that they want you to be able to understand and see it. And in that, you expect the whole world to just follow your church dogma and follow your religion. I said it once, said it 1,000 times. The worst thing this country could have done, because remember, my people in this country were forbidden to read and forbidden to write. And of course, if you keep a people illiterate, you keep them dumb, you keep them stupid, dormant, and docile, then they can't reason. they can't comprehend. They can't compute and calculate. And that's what the slave masters in this country wanted. They didn't want the blacks in this country. That's what we'll use that because people understand that. They didn't want us to be informed. They wanted to keep us ignorant so they could continue to keep taking advantage of us. Well, what's happening is that the empire, the Greco-Roman, European, British, American empire has had its run. The gig is up. America's repeating history again. Homosexuality, just like the book says, you know, it's amazing. Then they'll talk about Muhammad and how many wives he had. Most of you people, do you know that James was the half-brother of Jesus? You know what that's implying, don't you? That's implying that Mary was not, well, look at this now. Listen to me very close. Joseph's only wife. Wow. It's amazing, isn't it? And see, as long as the lie is promoted, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, everybody's fine. Leave it alone. But to me, the lie binds and the truth sets free. And I found it to be true. It's hard concerning facts of life. It really truly is. But I think that the most disturbing thing that I'm having, the reason why I'm getting a lot of this negative communique is I just don't simply believe like Christian America or the way that America has trained us to believe. I don't believe the way you do. I don't look at marriage the way you do. I don't look at the scriptures the way that you Christians believe. I don't look at none of it the way you do. I look at it according to what's been handed down to us by the prophets. And there's a lot of things that you call sin that's not written in the law. But it is appalling to me how that we have this homosexual society being reared up. And it's already been prophesied of by Jesus Christ that this would take place in the latter days. And we're seeing it happen right before our very eyes. And homosexuality had like a 24-30% approval rate in 2000. And here it is in 2015, it's got over a 60% approval rate in this country. And suicide or somebody being able to end their own life has a 4 or 5% approval rate. But those who choose or want to actually practice polygyny or biblical polygamy, that's what they call it, they use that word today, it only has a 3% approval rate throughout the whole country. Now you tell me who's right and who's wrong. I know you people hate it, but you know, think about this world today. Biblical marriage is going to have to be reestablished because nobody can appropriate. They can anymore. Nobody can consummate and actually have any seed or children with men loving men and women loving women. And of course, in this country, you have men who abandon, who physically and verbally abuse, batter, beat, and the women are scared half to death. They even scared to even call the police on them because everything that they use by these bullies is fear tactics. And it's just a sad situation what's happening in this country. And of course, when men start to man up and be the men that they're supposed to be, we'll stop all this nonsense and all this rhetoric that is going on today that people are trying to promote as true. So you Christians, before you start throwing stones, what you need to do is take an account of the weight that you got in your hand. Before you start talking about the religion of Islam and how that the Prophet Muhammad was marrying little girls, you just remember where Christ came from, you hypocrites. I tell you, it's a sad thing. Now, am I supporting Islam? I don't know enough about it to support it, but I do know this. I do know that I am constantly receiving communiques from people in Islam asking me to come over and join because they say I would be an excellent teacher. And the reason why they say that, because they love my character. They love what I stand for. I'm in my enemy's land. I realize this. I know I am. And I can tell you that I'm in my enemy's land based on how the people of his land have treated my people in the past. See, most of us, we want to forget history. We want to forget the transatlantic slave trade, but remember the Holocaust. The greatest Holocaust is 1492. the transatlantic slave trade that's ever been perpetuated on humans throughout this whole earth. And in this country wants you to forget that. But they want you to remember the Jewish Holocaust. Man, I tell you what. Anyway, I think I've said enough about this subject. And I still hold fast that Islam is a better religion than Christianity could ever be. Hook, line, and sinker. And that's the truth. And that's the true straight way. Now I can't wait to see what's going to happen on this one, boy. The repercussions are going to be from hell. But it will all be conjecture and opinion. There won't be no facts, because Christians, they some of the dumbest people on the face of planet Earth, because they choose mentally to say, I'm part of this religion. They haven't even checked out what the religion or the church dogma is all about. They got you believing stuff. You carry around a Bible, you don't know what's in it, and you're doing things that is associated with paganism, heathenism, and satanic idolatry, and you have not even a clue, because you carry a Bible, but you don't read it and you don't know what's in it. So before y'all start throwing what you call your stones and stuff, let me say this. Let me end it on this. You know, the news media in America has demonized Islam. You see, that's what's going on. You thinking that the United States of America is actually fighting against Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan and stuff because they care about what they do to their people. America don't care one bit about what they're doing to their people over there. No more than any other country care about what's going on over here. You see, that's the window dressing that they put up in front of you. The truth is this. The truth is this. The truth is that these religions and these people in this country right here, America, is actually having a war on Islam. All wars, every single bit of them, are religious in nature. And the American Christian British Empire is actually making war against Islam, because all those countries are Islamic. And that's what's really truly going on. And they want their resources. That's exactly what it's about. It's about religion and resources. It's not about they care about what they do to people. If that's the case, then damn, the whole world need to rise up against this wicked country for going in the womb and killing babies and actually eating babies and selling baby parts and Planned Parenthood. Man, you people ain't got a leg to stand on. You're righteous because you're right in your own eyes, but that doesn't mean that you're right in his eyes. But I will tell you this. One day, the breath is going to go out of all of our bodies. And the majority of the people are going to go to the lake. You're going to go to the place where there's fire and brimstone, because you exalt your opinion above truth. And you cannot recognize the truth because you don't have the spirit of truth in you, and you can't hear it because there is no truth in you whatsoever at all. It's a sad thing. So it's going to be amazing when we get to the kingdom. You're going to see Pastor Dowell and Straightway in the kingdom. But you, who call yourself the children of Yah, you're going to be thrust outside of the kingdom, where there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth, because you lie on the creator of the universe. Shalom. Have a good day.